2004, we were spending a lot of time up in the Himalayan Mountains, and we were just coming back down. We were going to go to Delhi and then take off after a few days' rest and go to Rajasthan in the desert and explore that area. And we were coming down the mountains, and we were getting ready to cross over the Ganges River with the bridge. And all these vehicles, everything from ox carts to big buses to personal cars, truck pickups, everything, all doubled and tripled parked alongside the road, making traffic come to a standstill. It was very difficult to get through. All these pilgrims were stopping to get a jug or a container of water from the river, the sacred river, holy water, and they gather it and they take it when they go back to Delhi or wherever they're going. So this was a real problem, and we were stuck in this traffic, and we were backed up, and we were behind a farm tractor that was pulling a trailer full of some kind of produce, sugar beets, something, I'm not exactly sure, but it was piled up. And there was people sitting on top of that, using it for transportation. And there was people sitting on the fenders and all around the tractor with the driver. So apparently he was selling rides, and as he was taking his produce in. And I was looking at the top of this trailer, and there was this old guy. He was kind of grubby, dirty, didn't look very well. In fact, he looked ill. And we locked eyes. I'm looking at him from the front seat of the car, and I'm looking at him, and we connect. And we're staring at each other, but not uncomfortably. It's a comfortable stare. It's almost like there's some kind of connection there. So I'm watching this guy, and next thing I know, there's this big, huge bus. It's full of people, and it's traveling on the wrong side of the road, passing in the wrong lane, trying to get by everybody. And it's just behind us, as it's getting close to us, there's a big truck coming directly at the bus. And so the bus makes a quick, sharp turn right in front of us, and it has a collision with the tractor and the trailer, jackknifing the trailer, so that all the people that were sitting on the trailer just kind of flung out into all kinds of directions. And the guy that I've been staring at went way up in the air, and he landed with a little boom. Made a horrible sound on the hot asphalt ground. And I'm staring at this guy laying there, and then the bus just throws a reverse, pulls out, and takes off after he caused all this damage. The guy runs away. So I get out, I run over there to where this old farmer or this old guy is laying there, and he's just, looks like he's dead. He's lifeless. There's his bones and everything, and just feels limp. There is no heartbeat. I can feel no pulse. He's not breathing. His eyes are just wide open, staring up at the sky, not blinking at all, not tearing up, not doing anything. And he had some blood on him, but the blood wasn't flowing anymore. It was just like everything stopped. He was just late. It was like he was dead. And so my first reaction, which may not have been a good one, but I just picked up his head gently, and I was cradling him in my arms, just, trying to love this man back to life. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, his chest looked caved in, his body doesn't look too good, he probably has broken bones. I can't, slam down on his chest to get his heart going. I'll probably, if he's not dead, he'll be truly dead. And the thought occurred to me that, I know how to do artificial respiration, mouth-to-mouth style. That's what I learned in lifeguard school in the Army, and I could maybe get some air in his lungs and get him to breathe again. And so I had this debate going, though. I'm thinking, wow, he looks really sick. He looks ill, like he had a disease. And this is India, and there was a big AIDS epidemic in this part of the country, and tuberculosis and all kinds of other stuff. And I'm thinking, well, if I save him at what cost is it going to be to me? And if I get sick and ill and die, that's going to affect my wife, my children, my grandchildren, and those people that I've been working with and counseling, and were expecting me to be around to help them. Is it fair to everybody to save this old guy if I take a great risk on my own life? So I had this big debate going. Because I remember back just a few years before that when I was on the Sacramento River where I saved somebody, and this young guy, when he came to, giving him mouth to mouth, he vomited down my throat and in my face and all over, and so I had that picture in my mind, and that was a healthy young man in America. So here I had this really sick guy that looked like he was dead already, and so I decided that I would just love him and I pray for him, and that's what I did. I loved and I prayed for him greatly. Prayed for him just in my head. I'm praying for him. And then the next thing I know, his eyes start blinking. And he just jerks his head a little bit, and his body just kind of does a little thing like that. And he looks at me. And now he's just staring at me, but his pulse is going and he's breathing. And so I set him back down. Somebody gave me a jacket. I put it under his head, under his neck. And I got a bottle of water and I washed some of the blood and dirt off his face. And then I hear this commotion going on. And I look up and down the row of vehicles that are stopped on the road. And here comes a mob of people, and they're beating up on the bus driver. He got stopped down the road just a short distance away, and they dragged him off the bus, and they were dragging him down here to where I was at. And everybody was kicking him. Everybody was punching him. Everybody was throwing stuff at him. They're spitting at him. Women, children, everybody. Old people, young people. And this guy was getting pretty beat. He had blood on him, and you could tell he was not going to last very long with this mob. So I couldn't take that. I had to do something. So I got up and I ran down towards the mob that was coming towards me, and I pushed everybody away, and I got up right next to the guy, and I got myself between this guy getting beat up and pulleted by everybody and the mob. And it was just a pause for a second while people looked at me, and next thing I know, I got two arms fully wrapped around me, two strong arms wrapped around me, pulling me away, and I hear my driver's voice go, "Bill, Mr. Bill, this is not a good idea. This is community justice. You don't want to be a part of this. You're going to get hurt." And I'm fighting him, right? And he just drags me all the way back to the car, and finally I stop fighting, and I look, and this guy, it's just, I'm praying to God somebody helps this guy. And I look up, and here comes this military policeman. I couldn't tell which he was. He looked like he had an AK-47 and an automatic weapon, and he had some kind of uniform on. So he could have been police, he could have been military. But he comes running down there, and he chases the mob away, and he puts this guy under arrest. The guy looked totally relieved. He was like, "Yeah, arrest me, arrest me." And so the guy was saved. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching that, and I'm thinking, geez, I made a couple of interesting decisions here. One, I made a decision to save my own health and not give this guy mouth to mouth, because I thought that was a wise choice. And then I get up and I try to protect the guy that almost killed this guy in a hit and run. And I risked my life to save his. And then he's saved by the police or the military. And the guy I was helping, I don't know who saved him unless it was God, but he came too. So I was wondering about that. I go, here I was facing these two decisions. That's what I did. And looking back upon it, the only thing I could say to justify it was, that's who I am and that's my personality. I can't stand by and let somebody get beat up, even if they're guilty of something. And I can't stand by and watch somebody die without at least offering loving prayers, something, help of some kind. So I was protected that day by my driver. I was protected by God. I was protected by common sense. You name it. But that was the decisions I made on a road to Delhi next to the Ganges River.